sitting here relaxed, calm, because I'm going to talk about something really good. And I'm going to get this out of the way first. Actually, I probably get out of the way twice, but here's the first. What we're looking at today is very graphic in content, in language, and in the drawings itself. Graphic violence, nudity, drug use. This is a graphic book. I want to put that out there. This book came out when I was in junior high. And I was a little kid, and I remember I had to have an adult buy it for me because the one shop here that had it had like everything covered except the title at the top, and it was in a locked case. So I had to have, I think it was my grandfather, and he went and he bought like 5 copies because I just knew this was going to be a hot property. And it ended up being like one of the best comics, probably the best comic I've ever read in my life. And I'm talking about David Quinn story, Tim Vigil art, Faust, Love of the Dam. This is the North Star. This is a first print of the first issue. And I like you guys so much. I'm going to open up this print. We're going to look at it. But Faust, I mean, Faust was awesome. You want to know how awesome Faust was? It even had a movie. Yeah, it didn't get like a big press or anything here in the United States, but it was a big major movie overseas. If you think I'm lying, take a look at this trailer.
Based on the graphic novel and cult comic.
I always knew deep inside that evil existed.
It's a long way down. You won't even feel it.
Life, death, pleasure, pain, it's all the same.
I can offer you a new life, life everlasting. I can give you the power of vengeance. All I ask in return is your immortal soul. Just sign here. Now go forth and mutilate.
If you could avenge the ones you lost, protect the ones you love. What price would you pay? What bargain would you strike? How far would you go? From the director of Return of the Living Dead 3 and Beyond Reanimator. Faust, Love of the Damned.
I make such a mess when I play.
Yeah, the movie kind of varies a little bit from the comic book. Not a lot, but just to give you a little background, the comic, Faust is he's your superhero, so to speak. He's the main guy. And nothing is ever explained in the first issue, as you'll see, because I'm going to go over it in pretty good detail. This is a story that unfolds as you read it. And it got kind of known for being part of that whole deconstructed superhero genre, like Watchmen, The Crow. One of my personal favorites, Dark Knight Returns. Actually, all those books are really good. But it was an indie book, but it sold good. That first issue sold over 100,000 copies. It doesn't happen with indie books, especially back in 1987 when this book came out. Now, here's the weird thing. It came out in 1987. There were 15 issues. That's it, just 15 issues made. And that final issue didn't come out until like 2005. I mean, it's a 25-year story arc. And the last 2 issues, unfortunately, were so low printed by that point. Like, previews didn't get it. No shop around here got it. So if you can find it, those last 2 issues sell for insane money. But it's also the end of the story. And the story is very good. You know, it's going to deal with our main guy. The Faust is actually, and I don't want to give too much away because I plan on looking at all the books. His name is John Jaspers. And he makes a deal with M. who's like this head of the crime in they're in New York, I do believe. I don't know if they ever like fully say, but everything bad happens in New York in comic books. And this M, who's the leader of like this whole criminal underworld, he's also the devil, and he wants John Jaspers to be like one of his pawns, like a soldier in this war that he's planning to take everything over. And the movie does explain that. Like I said, I like the movie. You know, it was Brian Yunza did it, but the comic book, as in the case of always, is so much better. And like I said, this, you just get a little pieces in every single issue. You get a little piece of the puzzle for it to come full circle. Right now, I want to take a look at issue 1 of the beginning of that circle, and we'll come right back to me. Here we go. Faust, Act 1, Love of the Damned, first print. Look at that artwork. I mean, like I said, people always like, I think one of the things that a lot of people associated the claws, it's like, oh my God, Wolverine is finally killing people with his claws. See an ad on the back for Omega, another that Mr. Quinn and Mr. Vigil were doing. One thing I will tell you about Faust, and I won't read it word for word, but as David Quinn explains, if you expect a first issue to answer all of their questions about a character, I'm sorry. As far as storytelling goes, this character demands a point of view perspective, not often seen in comics. No narrator hands thoughts and emotions to you. Primal voices chatter in the Faust's head, and every character witnesses different fragments of the story, each telling his or her own part directly, and raw action speaks for itself. So basically what you're finding out is you're not going to buy an origin issue. You have to read all this to make sense. And in the beginning it gets a little hard, but in the beginning we meet our good friend here. He's a reporter, and he's, I shouldn't say he's a good friend, he's meaningless to me, but he's a reporter. You see he comes across a hooker. Like I said, this is very, very graphic, very violent, and you know, he's working on all the stories. He's working on one here. You can see there's a lot of nudity in this. This is a oops, I skipped a page. This is a drug dealer, sells heroin. Anyway, he's been dipping into it, and these assassins work for a crime boss named M. He works for him too, but they're not happy he's digging into him, so as you can see, he guns him down, guns down the girl too. Then it flashes to Jade DeCamp. She is a psychiatrist, and she was working with a patient named John Jaspers, who apparently he underwent some type of treatment. And now the person at her staff, you know, the head doctor there is saying, well, you know, he just died. Must have been the anesthesiologist, you know, because the guy was considered criminally insane. Well, she's stealing his files because just something's not right. Why would a healthy guy die? Where's his body? What happened to him? Yada, yada. And this is actually, if you look at the drawings here, it makes, look at it as one big thing. It makes a big painting. And the painting was done, as you can see here, a lot of Easter eggs, John Jaspers. She's looking at it, and then we see thoughts, you know, when she was talking to him about James Brown. She says, you know, the guy, good to hear music from your childhood. You know, they like James Brown. He's the godfather of soul. Well, now he's thinking that. Here's our first glimpse ever of our horned character. You know, all he sees are images. He doesn't really know what to do. And he's up there. He's watching all these goons. And they work for M as well. And Jade is in a diner. You know, she runs into our reporter who's, you know, as you can see, it goes from it's written in cursive, goes to normal. Well, they get attacked. Here's the Faust. Nose cut. Here's where it gets violent. You can see his blade goes clean through this guy's nose, right up his head. And he's trying to write it all down because he figures if I write this down, I won't puke. You see Faust, and he's just ripping the crap out of people. Like, you know, like I said, this is very, very graphic. Just gutting people left and right. Now, as he's killing all these people, he's not, you know, he knocks down, he like, you know, don't write this shit, you know. He can talk. He's not, like, insane. He just doesn't have all his full memories, as you can tell. He talks to himself a lot. But, you know, they think maybe he's a vampire. No, he's just cutting them. You can see all the blood. And he just says, Lord, ain't no shy. I'm just the godfather of soul. You know, he's another one of the gangs. I keep saying, you know. Another one of the gangs. He throws clean through a car windshield. This scene was actually in the movie. It was actually done really, really well. And as we get toward the end, he's trying to get this guy to give him some information. He wants to know who he works for. And then he says, well, if there's no requests, you know, he's like, if you tell me who you work for, I'll stop singing. Guy, you know, basically, as you can see, fuck you, fucking fuck you. Doing the mashed potato, jump back jack, see you later, alligator. Come down, sister. Papa's in the street. Ain't too hip now, but I dig the new breed. As he's kissing this beheaded head. Ain't that a drag? Papa's got a brand new bag. And that's when she realizes this is John Jaspers. This is him. Our reporter friend is just thinking about winning a Pulitzer, I would assume. The dead head here is just thinking about his funeral. And you don't really know what the Faust is thinking. You can just see all the demons. He says, I'm back. And say lyrics to Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, 1965, James Brown. Are you lonesome tonight? That was the first issue. Didn't tell you jack shit. All it did was leave you wanting more. Now, if this has left you wanting more, I will do this for you. Stay tuned. And even before we go for our final talk, I'll be back soon. We'll do issue 2. This is the Faust. Act 1, Love of the Damned. Buy it. Don't think twice. I just gave you a nice preview. Buy it and enjoy it. Let's go talk. Back to me. I know that's like your favorite part. But yeah, this is good. As you can see, hardcore. Hardcore. Vigil, his artwork is second to none. It's the best. He's one of my favorite artists. I take that back. He is my favorite artist. He is my favorite artist, hands down. He did this Batman-like draw-up that you can find on the internet. Really good. If you want to see a lot of his uncensored art, he's got a Patreon page. And I belong to it. It's like $3 a month is all for like all this amazing artwork that he does. It's so good. You know, just look it out. I don't want to put a link like you think I'm plugging it because I get nothing off of it. Just go on Instagram and look up Tim Vigil. And then I think he's got a link there to his Patreon. I'll let you guys do it for yourself. There is talk, and the talk started last year. There hasn't been a lot of it since that Sony is going to be producing or making, I should say, an R-rated animated version of this book. You almost have to do X-rated. But that's, you know, it's a book to look out for because that could happen. And it probably will happen because, you know, everybody's looking for content for their streaming stuff. You can also see clearly that Spawn was influenced by this drawing. This was before Spawn. And when McFarlane was, I think, once asked about it, he said, oh, I liked Tim Vigil's work. I remember it from a while ago. It's like, yeah, you were definitely, he didn't rip anything off. I am not saying that in the slightest because he didn't. But he got some of the idea. That cape and that suit, there's a lot of stuff that you saw in that book that it looks pretty good in Spawn. So, you know, this was Faust Act 1, Love of the Damned. I'm going to be back, and we're going to wait a while, maybe a week, maybe make it a weekly thing or bi-weekly thing. I'm going to do Act 2, Love of the Damned. We're going to do them all. Soon there could be an omnibus coming out. Stay tuned. I'll have that news. In the meantime, guys, let me know what you think of Faust, and I'd like you to hit the like button. I really appreciate if you subscribe, share, tell your friends. You know, I'm new to this whole YouTube comic community, and I've already met some people. I met my man D-Rock. I met DJ Lynx. You know, keep it thorough, great people. Just, you know, hope to meet more. I hope you guys like the content. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.